Sweet. Hello guys, hello. Kia ora whānau. Welcome to Tackling Men's Mental Health with TaniwhaTV. I'm your host, Mana.
Kia ora, and I'm Paul Taniwha.
And I'm Michael Naera, the guest.
Yes, the guest. When we suggested coming up with a podcast idea, number one issue people wanted to talk about was mental health, and especially male mental health. But what we've also learned is that people don't talk about it. So what's some of the reasons that you think that we don't talk about male mental health?
Yeah, kia ora everyone, and thank you for having me on the show. Very, very important take because of the high rates of suicide that are occurring across our male communities, specifically Māori, and then our Māori wahine, but we're talking about Māori men tonight. And there are a lot of issues that lead up to that. But I just wanted to let everyone know, in terms of suicide or whakamomori, is that it's not it can be an off-the-cuff thing, but it also can be a prolonged thing. And the reason being is that we've got this thing in our culture is that it's we have to staunch up as male. Yeah. We have to be really staunch, and it's too. I have to be staunch. I can't cry. I can't reach out. I can't be a pussy. I can't be vulnerable. But you know what I say to our men out there, wherever you are in the world, old, young, down to our peepees, it's staunch to talk about mental health.
Nice.
It's staunch to talk about our feelings. It's staunch to cry. And so that's the message that I wanted to give. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that's good. Yeah, because when we were young, back in the 80s, harden up.
Yeah.
Take the harden uphill. So if you've got something going wrong, you don't talk about it, which means we can't talk about it. And then you realise that you can't express yourself, especially when it comes to dealing with issues and hard stuff.
Yeah, and when you talk about the 80s, I remember the Western Night Street Fighters, during those days, and it was like, you either get a hiding or you got to give someone a hiding.
That's right.
And if you start to cry, then basically you're pussy or you're basically out of the gang or things like that. Yeah. And so we were brought through that culture, and somehow that's handed down to our kids now. Yeah. And because that's the way we've been taught, that's the way we're teaching our kids, and when it comes to wanting to express your feelings and that, we don't know how to do it.
No, it's okay to be a little bit vulnerable, isn't it? It's like now back when you guys were young, and obviously, of course, when I was in the 90s as well, it was a difficult time to be like, I want to have a cry on your shoulder, because people would always say, "No, you'll be right. Just keep going. You'll be right."
Yeah.
Even though they say chin up, but you still want to express yourself, express your feelings. But in the end, they just tell you to bottle it up, put it on the shelf, and then leave it to dust.
Yeah, I think we need to change the way we think, because we've got boys that are turning to men that are watching us as adults, and if we start the trend of being vulnerable and crying because we're having a crap day, they start to learn, it's okay to cry. My dad cries, and it's okay to tell them, I'm having a crap day, I'm not feeling too good, and letting your kids know. And I think that's the role modelling that we have to give our kids today.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you think about some of the instances that we feel and face today are based on historical experiences like colonization, so having 200 years of cultural trauma, and then poverty, so you've got 50 years of whānau trauma?
Yeah, probably two things. Two things is that in the Māori world, men were equal with women, men were equal with our children, men were equal with our kaumātua. And when colonization came along, we were the patriarch of the family. If you didn't cook my meal, I'm going to beat you up. The children need to be quiet and not heard. That's what we were being brought up to do. And if you step out of line, you know, what does mum say? Wait till dad gets home.
Yeah.
Hey, wait till dad gets home, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's been brought through.
You're right. It gives me bad.
You're right, Mana.
Bad memories.
Yes.
Give me bad memories.
Yeah, but it's true, eh? It's true. So I think you know, people like myself and you and Mana, we're the models of change, eh? And we're here to change that narrative that has been passed down from generations to generations.
Because it's quite easy to see ourselves and a lot of our bros at the moment going through isolation, especially with COVID. So a lot of things have happened in the last 3 years, and that leads to insecurities and anxieties, and it also leads to loneliness. I don't know if you've seen it, but a lot more people are lonely today because they've created that social distance and they've kept it. So there's almost I don't want to get sick, so I'm going to stay at home. But now I don't socialise as much as I used to. Yeah. So now I'm pulling back, and now I feel a bit out, and now that's messing with my mental. Yeah.
Bro, when I went through my crap, you know, and I call it crap, it was crap, and I try to reach out to my friends, I try to reach out to the medical fraternity, I try to reach out to whoever would talk to me. Yeah. And when I said, you know, I'm not coping, you know, my friends will go off and get a box, and we'll get rotten drunk, and we'll go to nightclubs, and we'll get drunk as. But I tell you, at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm just crying, just crying. And then the next day I try and reach it out again, because our friends, when they hear that you're vulnerable, they don't want to, they think, oh man, he's going to go psycho soon. You know, right. he's going to fall down, and then I'm going to have him and feed him all week, you know.
He's going to be at my house.
Yeah, he's going to be at my house, and he's going to be smelly and not have a shower. But I'm telling you, that our men are trying to reach out, but we're not listening. We're not listening to our men. We're not hearing the voices of mama, the voices of pain. So I think if us as our men, you know, because we can do it in the pubs. Yeah. We can do it in the pubs, and we get to the pubs and my bro, I got your back. And then you go, I'm not having a good day. I haven't got your back, bro. Yeah.
And then alcohol becomes a love language. And what I think I've seen is that bros flock together, and we've all got problems we all desperately need to talk about, but we'll all drown it in alcohol, and then somewhere 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. it'll come up, and now we're all in the sad circle,
singing sad songs.
Sad songs at the camp. But then we don't do anything about it, and we come back and keep doing it week after week. Yeah. Do you think that helps, like with the alcohol and?
And I wanted to just touch on what I said before about I got your back. Yeah. You know, us men, we've got your back on the rugby field. You know, I've got your back in mahi. I've got your back going to hunt for pigs. Yeah. But when you're vulnerable, oh, bro, I've got something on. I've got something on tonight.
Do you think it's because they themselves have things that they like still have to deal with inside, so they don't want to take someone else's?
I think that's a bit of both. I think there's this thing inside us is that I want to help you, bro. I just don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how. But the message I want to give to our audience today is that you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. You know, you got to use the most of what you have. And that's the 2 ears, and that's all our whānau. That's all it takes to stop someone going off to take their life. Sure. Yeah. Hey, you know, I'm here for you, bro. But if you got things on, say we're going to set a goal. We're going to set a goal. Can you last for the 2 days? Let's set a goal, and I'll be back on Sunday to have a kōrero. I've got things on. And once your friend knows that you've set a goal for Sunday at 8 o'clock in the morning that you'll be back, they'll survive until you get back. You know, so these are the things that our men haven't been taught to look after the bros.
So it's creating a new way of thinking and a new way to live your life.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I got a question for those men who are trapped in their vulnerability. How do they find security through their vulnerability?
Well, I think we've talked about the alcohol.
Yeah.
We've talked about the drug. Well, it's not only drug addiction, it's gambling addiction,
Yep.
pornography even. We get sucked into that. There's a lot of addictions that are out there.
Social media now.
Social media.
Doom scrolling.
And scrolling. But I just want to let our audience know that there's this chemical... I'm getting into the real doctor stuff now, and that's it's called dopamine, and that's what pornography and gambling does. It creates a good feeling thing, and then when you walk away from the pokie machines, then you start to hit rock bottom again. So you go back to gambling and you get this good dopamine things, and that's the same with alcohol. But alcohol makes you more depressed as you drink it, because it's like a sedative type thing.
Right.
So
how do you break away if it's biological? Like it's a little bit cultural, a little bit social, but if you add that biological, now you need that fix.
That's when I think Mana was talking about trauma at the start.
Yeah.
And so we all have dopamine, and we can manage that dopamine. But when we have addiction, we need the dopamine all the time. So we keep on going back to the pokie machine, go back to the pokie machine. Yeah, but the way to break away with that is that we do need help. We need our Māori practitioners to come in there to support you. It's hard to break away from addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, pornography. It's hard to break away from that. And I'm telling our men, if you're going to go, what do our papas say? Go cold turkey.
Yeah, cold turkey.
Cold turkey. Oh, bro.
See, that's going from hard to harder.
Yeah, it becomes harder.
Yeah.
And then who gets hurt? It's our kids.
Yeah.
Because we're going cold turkey, but all I want to do is play on the pokies, Just go ting, 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 ting.
It's easier to put a coin in the slot than try to...
Oh, it takes away the pain, and it gives you enjoyment. And when you leave the pokie machine, you start remembering the trauma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a mean hiding from dad. I can't get over that trauma, so I go back to the pokies. I feel happy again. Yeah. And that's all that stuff.
So if you're locked in there, how would you? What are some ways that you've seen other bros get out of that?
Like a process.
There's probably two things. If you can do it and safely go to counsellors or our Māori practitioners, then all thumbs up to you. But if you can't, our men have to hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
They have to hit rock bottom before they learn. So they'll go, no, I've given up. They say to the wife, I've given up. And then the wife goes, you haven't given up? Yeah, I've given up. And then next day, back on the pokies, and they start lying, and then they start pinching the money, and then they start spending the kai money, and then they start doing all devious things and robbing from mum and dad, and then it just becomes a huge mess. But rock bottom is where the change comes, and unfortunately, that's where it needs to come.
It's quite sad how you have to hit rock bottom to be able to realise that stuff. Like admitting it to yourself and actually wanting to do something about it is really hard. Really hard. It
is, mana, and I think with our whānau, it's what is it? Our whānau going through crap, they're on the P, and they're going hard on the P, but you can't stop loving them.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't stop loving them,
that's right.
But you can say to them, I love you, and my home is always open to you, but not in that state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't have you around my children. I can't have you, but because I love you.
Yeah, that's good. Because that's all you need sometimes, to say someone that cares, someone can see you.
Yeah.
They see you.
Yeah, and they keep coming back.
Yeah.
And it's the day, I bet you, Mana and Potaua, when they come to you and they go, guys, I did it. I broke the cycle.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
How would that be?
Yeah. And it was after they hit rock bottom, but then also the partner, there's a bit of honesty.
Yeah.
When you hit rock bottom, you're willing to open up.
Yeah.
There's no more hiding. So here am I, warts and all.
Yeah.
And I think at that moment, if someone's there to listen to you, you can carry on. Yeah. But we've seen too many instances where brothers take their lives because first we're good at it.
Yeah.
We're really good at it. I know sisters do it just as much, but the bros are actually more successful.
Yeah.
And so it gets a bit scary when you see a bro who's kind of teetering on the edge and you don't know how to help.
Yeah.
Because it might set off a whole bunch, avalanche of emotion in me.
Yeah.
And so all of us pull back.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing we could have done.
Well, that's right. And you know, I work in the industry. I work in mental health and addiction, and my family come to me all the time. You know, for money, for da 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 da. I said, you're not getting anything, but no, I love you. Oh, you give things to them. You give things to them. I said, yeah, but I still love you.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm not going to feed your addiction, and
right.
I'm going to tell you straight up. But I'm always here if you want to change.
Yeah.
Being there for somebody is the best gift you can give to them.
Yeah,
personally.
yeah, that's right, Mana. That's right.
So what's a lot of our young bros, like we mentioned earlier, we don't have the language to express ourselves.
Yeah.
So what do you think some of the words are that a young bro could say just to say, hey, I'm not coping?
Yeah, just say it. Just say it. You know, there's this, the medical world says there's a script. You know, there's a script like, Mana, I see you're feeling down, da 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 da. And Mana's go, no, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, bro, what's up?
Yeah, because is it because he's saying no so fast? Isn't like doesn't want to show himself?
It's not an authentic. You know, like Mana, you're talking to your own mate, and he's got the script. Oh yeah, I got to say this. Are you okay? Are you fine? And you're looking at your bro, you go, are you okay?
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
are you okay? But for those ones reaching out, just say it. Just say, I'm pretty effed up, you know, and I need your help. You know, I want to change.
Yeah, cool.
You know, I need help.
Can I ask, what happens if they approach someone and the person they approach blows it off? Do you find somebody else, or do you?
Well, that's the reason why our men get despondent, because they went to someone, they go, because you have to be brave, to ask for help, and they've finally gone to the potawa, you know, I feel vulnerable, and you go, yeah, you'll be alright, cuz. Yeah. And then our men who took 3 or 4 weeks to come out and say, I feel vulnerable, and you go, you'll be alright, cuz, and you go,
that's
get the bottle back into it. Yeah.
Want to get a drink, boys?
Yeah, and then you know, just we've got the wairua, we've got the kōrero, we've got the manakitanga. Then let's use these tools. Yes. I'm not going to give you some script that's come from the psychological world to try and help the bros out, you know, because we've got a reo of our own. You know, bro, I got your back. You know, we're here together.
So that's it. You got to get real.
Yeah.
Got to get down. If the bro's down in the dumps, might have to join them down there for a little bit. Yeah. Not to stay down there, but to encourage them out, lift them out.
But the trick I wanted to say to all our audience out there is that they're not dependent on you. Right. You're going to say to them, I'm going to hold your hand, and we're going to find someone for you to support, because I can only do so much, and I'm not a professional. I'm going to take your hand and let's go find someone to help you.
Yeah, professional. So can you just talk a little bit about you're a doctor now? What did you have to go through to become a doctor?
Well, I told you too, I'm not a doctor, but you guys thought it was flash for the show.
But Dr. Michael, what?
Dr. Michael, so what was your question again?
How did you come to this field?
Well, basically in 2000, my hapu, Ngāti Pikia, lost six young people to suicide from the rugby league club, and I used to work at the hospital, at the Rotorua hospital. And I said, what's happening with my tribe? Yep. You know, we've got these strapping young men taking their lives. And I said stuff to some and I haven't left the kaupapa.
What a way.
Sure, sorry about that.
Yeah.
What a reason to get in.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and of actual fact, Ngā Tupaki are probably leading this kaupapa around the country, if not the world, because our kaumātua said to us, we need to make change.
Yeah.
And young people like us go, well, I'm not going to say no to him or her.
Yeah,
You know?
hey, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But I think the kaumātua would have seen the impacts of colonisation and poverty, but also the staunchness, the masculinity.
Yeah.
We call it toxic masculinity that we used to practice.
Yeah, yeah. And we start looking at our men like as if we're doing an assessment on them.
Yeah.
Bro, but we're not actually looking at our men or our children and saying, oh, they got a bit of Maui traits. Let's teach them maurako. Oh, they like to hang around the kitchen. Let's teach them how to mahi kai. You know, oh, they're always sitting with the kaumātua. Let's teach them whakapapa. You know, we don't do that now.
Yeah, how much do you think it's about identity and fitting in?
Big time.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Big time. But what I know in working with the gangs and that, I haven't worked with them for a while, so I'm not that qualified in it now. But when I used to work with them, our gang members knew they were Māori.
Yeah.
They go, I know I'm Māori, and I know I'm from here. And I go, great, that's where we'll start.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's where we'll start, and we'll do the mahi from there.
Yeah, because when you're supported and connected,
Yeah.
you can feel that lift and that aroha. Eh?
Oh, big time.
Yeah, and I suppose for me, as an urban Māori, and you're away from the marae and these communities, we look after ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
It is a dog-eat-dog world.
Oh,
So you can't always just go across the road and ask like we used to in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to probably touch on our youth, and I'm probably the worst fella to talk to our youth about this kaupapa. And I think it's time for our youth to stand up and you know, provide some leadership around this kaupapa.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and you know, I see with our team here, you know, it's about them standing up, because you know, when the youth look at me, they look at authority and they look at seniority.
Okay.
But when youth look at their own, they go, I like it.
Yeah.
You know, and they relate to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Wow, okay.
yeah. And so I think for us, you know, bringing our youth and our leadership through around this kaupapa, you know, injecting a bit of life into kaupapa, you know, I can inject wānanga stuff, but we need the youth, we need the culture, the energy from our youth.
Yeah, cool. That's a great tip. Do you have any other tips just for males 40-50? Because it's a different game for us. You know, it's us OGs.
Yeah. So I've gone through the lifespan, gone through from our children where they're curious, our little boys that are breaking their legs, jumping on the tree, off the tree and all that. Then you got the explosion period where our men are going through the puberty and all that. Yeah. Then they go into families, then they start settling down. But our tāne, because we think it's our woman that's going through menopause, and we think they're ending their life because they're cutting off the birth canal now, because they've had their pepe and they're their babies. But no one knows that men are going through it as well, through menopause as well.
Okay, cool.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, well, it's less out there. The research out there, it hasn't been researched well. But what we know is that there's a longing to be that person that you used to be.
Yep.
Where you used to jump the fence but now you need a ladder to get over the fence. You know, that you're coming to a time where you used to have, in the explosion period, lots of girlfriends. Yep. And now you're on your own, and then it starts to bring you back into loneliness.
Right.
Yeah, loneliness, and am I worthwhile? Am I still providing for my family? Yep. And then sometimes our men will go through panic things. They'll start to have shorter breath.
Actually, when I was younger, no one ever mentioned anxiety or panic. It was never diagnosed. And now it's breaking out. It's breaking out. It's all the bros, especially bros my age, are like, I've got anxiety, brother. we didn't even know what it was, and now we've got it. We can't quite figure it out, but
it's
we
like
know
faster than a disease, like the illness is going on. It's like it's worse.
Yeah. I think what we need to be clear though is everyone's got anxiety and everyone's got depression.
Right.
But where it becomes an illness is when you have anxiety 24/7.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're always living in fear. So anxiety is about living in fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, if I walk out the door, I'm going to get hit by a truck.
Yeah.
You know, and if I get hit by the truck, then the doctor won't save me in the hospital. And then you're thinking ahead.
Yeah.
With depression, you're thinking about the past. If I was good to my dad, if I was good to my mum, and that's when you start to go into this, to the real sad, and angry. And men get angry when they're in depression, real angry. So firstly, it's okay to have anxiety and it's okay to have depression. But if you have anxiety for 24/7 or depression for 24/7, then that's when you need to get help.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Can you describe some of the help that's available out there, like services?
Well, there's help out there, and this is probably the hardest thing that our men have to do is to try and find it.
Yeah.
Because we need to change the attitude of our professions, where our professions should come to our whānau.
Right.
Yeah, but it's the whānau that have to go and track down, to go through all these multiple doors to get help.
Because there's hotlines, eh?
There's hotlines.
The 1737.
1737. And there's the youth line. Contact the youth line. There's even men's group for anger management.
Okay, cool.
Is that do you find these on social pages or?
Yes. So here in the Rotorua, we've got whānau ora who can connect you. They do a plan for you, whānau ora, Te Aroha whānau ora, and you can find them on the website. And they do goals and plans with you. And it might be like, I want to become, a better man. And to become a better man, if you can help me with my addiction, then they connect you to Utina Manakitanga Trust or Manaki Ora, to the addiction services. Or they might say that, I'm divorced now and I'm struggling, so they hook you up with a counsellor. So this is what our Te Aroha whānau ora do for us. Then you got Te Runanga o Ngāti Pakiao that have their GP services, and Korowai Aroha that have GP services designed for Māori. So go in there and have a kōrero. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because you're paying for these services.
Sure, that's right.
Yeah. So don't be afraid. Ask for help, and if you don't get help, just keep asking for it. It's when you're silent, is that when your mind takes over.
It's when you've already lost, is when you've given up.
Yeah, that's right. True. That's pretty powerful there, mana.
Yeah. So whānau, if you guys know anybody that possibly needs any help, or yourself feel like you could possibly need some help, we'll put some links on our page, so you guys can click through them and talk to someone if you would like to. We'll just read some comments, go through some comments, just if there's any questions or any statements people like to make, just so we can just...
And we just want to give a shout out to everyone watching us live. Thank you for tuning in. TaniwhaTV, Taniwha Talks, our first one. So
first one!
Yeah, I'm so privileged. Yeah.
Ngāora Waiti said, people in general are scared to hit rock bottom, but men are so they think they'll be seen as weak, but when in reality, beknownst to them, our men is where most of us take our lead and get our strengths.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely
that's
true.
Right. And the only way you can hit rock bottom if you're prepared to strip the onion and peel away the layers of trauma that are affecting you. But if you're trying to hold on to that, because your trauma actually becomes your friend, it becomes a safety for you, and people hit rock bottom when they know they have to deal with it. And it's the hardest thing that you have to do in your whole life, is to deal with things like sexual abuse, like getting beaten up and all that stuff. So so peeling the layers away, that's what key message I'll say to our men.
Nice.
Be be vulnerable to the process.
Yeah. And one, if you're a male going through this, how do you have aroha for your partner? Because the other person suffers in silence just as much, I think.
Oh, big time.
So what do we have to be conscious of when we've got a partner who's trying to help us?
Well, the world becomes about our men, and our partners struggle to keep the marriage alive and keep the marriage going. But I think it's back to that honesty as men. We gotta say, it's not really my wife that's the problem. It's me.
Yeah.
But admitting that is the hardest thing. Admitting things that it's me. It's not my children. Because they've turned up the TV. It's me. So once we admit that it's me, then things will start to happen. Yes. But I like your question though, Pōtaua, because our wahine and even our tāne who are experiencing our wahine going a bit off the cuff, they experience a bit of trauma and trying to keep the marriage together. Yeah. So it's don't know why I want to use the term of Jacinda's about being kind, but maybe I use the words of Ngāti Pikiao
Dame Jacinda.
Dame
Jacinda.
I'd like to say she's my mate.
Yeah, but you were going to say you want to use the Ngāti Pikiao.
Yeah, I think Ngāti Pikiao is, you put your kauai out. Put your kauai out, like our rangatira put his kauai out there to the world to experience. But if you, I've taken that analogy, if we don't put our kauai, which is the jawbone, and we're not prepared to talk about it, then be prepared to either lose your marriage, lose your work, lose your job. But I'll say, or our men, just be staunch and start talking about it.
And I've got one more with our kaumātua, so our koeke. So just because you're 80 years old, it doesn't mean you're immune to mental health issues.
No.
So what would you suggest for our kaumātua?
This is probably more for our whānau, really. Loneliness for our kaumātua is huge. Not only for our tāne, but for our kaumātua tāne, but our kuia as well. Because, no one's visiting them now. Wife is gone.
Can I also add a little bit? Because also the age that they've been in is slowly already past. Their friends.
That's right.
They've already passed. So now they've got their mokos and mokonos and all of those, but they haven't, I guess, lived through that lifeline, so they feel like they're a bit lost.
Yeah, that's right.
There's so much technology everywhere. Like, what is this?
Oh, that's right, mana. And now our kaumātua are online on the online pokies, and then they get scammed because they're emptying out all their funds out of their bank to pay this and someone in Siberia, but they genuinely believe that they're helping someone. Yeah. So I think for our families, we just got to go back and support our kaumātua, and have cups of teas with them. Yeah.
So we have a comment from Urokowa's mum. So the comment is, there is not enough campaigning and publicity on social media of men's mental health and suicide thoughts. What do you guys think about it? We don't see enough on TV or our older generations. In our older generations,
I couldn't agree with you more. There's general information online, but there's nothing specific for men. And men are the highest. Men in general, are the highest for taking their lives. Successfully taking their lives. And Māori men are the highest ethnic group for taking their lives.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, about so there's 140 Māori that die, including female, and majority of that number is Māori men. that are dying from suicide. So your question is relevant, and we need to start boosting this promotion around Māori men's health.
Yep.
You know, Taniwha is about us, you know, getting back in contact with our tūpuna, getting in contact with going out hunting with our mates rather than drinking.
Yeah. Now, I see that a lot of my uncles now, they've seen the light. Yeah, and it's more with their mokos, going and have fun days and instead of going to the shed and having a party.
Yeah, that's right, eh? And it's all those things, but a very, very good question. That it's not seen, mana. It's not seen at all.
It is not enough. Not enough. Even advertisements. They have the odd on radio and the odd on YouTube, but it's not like it's like one video a month I would see something like that. It's not very often.
Yeah. I think men's health is focused on you know, the abs that I have.
Yeah.
I saw you roll your eyes.
My 250 kg bench press.
You know, but men, you know, if we go back to Te Ao Māori, our tūhunga focused on wairua, and my brother and I, we come from a tūpuna called Hikapui Puiapi, and she was a tūhunga that focused on wairuatanga, you know, and if the wairua is sick, then our tāne is sick.
That's right.
And so rather than focusing on, you know, you've got bipolar, you've got schizophrenia, all that stuff, let's focus on getting the wairua well.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, sweet.
That's really cool.
So we've Whānau, this 15 minutes has gone into half an hour. So just before we wrap up, we're just going to have some concluding remarks. First from Dr. Michael. Dr. Michael. From our brother Michael, just around this kaupapa, do you have any like final remarks?
Yeah, I do. You know, it's around belief, whānau. You know, never be scared or whakapapa, you know, and don't see the behaviour, see the whakapapa, you know, see that that's your cousin, see that that's your sister, your daughter, your son. See the whakapapa first before you see the behaviour, and then you'll be fine. Go back to the ways of our tūpuna.
Yeah, kia ora. Nice, kia ora. Mana.
No, yeah, it was all fascinating for me, especially for the Indigenous. The statistics for that is horrible. The smallest country, the last country to get a lot of things, but we're the highest for that. It's horrible. But hopefully we can, with the help of Michael, we can actually change that. Start small from here, grow Rotorua, the rest of Aotearoa. Yeah, you see us coming for that mental health, guys.
Yeah, so over the next couple of weeks, please keep messaging us. We'll keep in contact with Brother Michael, and then if you've got questions for us, and maybe in a couple of months come back and then we'll update.
Yeah, we'll have a bit of a kōrero. We might talk about our wahine next time.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. The comments are going, you're not qualified to talk about us.
Hey, yep, that's right. But we can talk about these.
Yeah, we can talk about it. Yeah. We can talk about it. And I have a bit of kōrero around our wahine and all that stuff as well. It's all mana enhancing stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. So this is the end of our Taniwha Talks for tonight. I just want to thank our guest, Michael Naera.
Dr. Michael Naera.
Doctor.
And so next week we'll be covering Pride Week. So June the 12th to the 16th, have I got my dates right? June 12th to the 16th is Pride Week. And so next week's kaupapa we'll be talking to
Raukawa Tuhura. We'll get her as a guest, and hopefully maybe we'll get someone else, but at the moment we've got Raukawa Tuhura. She's got a lot of knowledge on that side, as being a transgender as well. So yeah, so we'll hopefully see you guys around for next week.
So
as
again, thank you Mana, thank you Michael, thank you to Levi in the back,
thank you
to all of us. Thanks for watching. Okay,
yeah.
Taniwha TV.
Taniwha TV.